So say you're on a run and gun shoot with your Sony camera, and you go from one environment to another. Would you rather spend precious moments messing with your settings, or get the right settings in a split second? If you prefer the latter, let's join 31 Films in their Together workshop as they show you how to move faster with custom settings. Then check out the rest of their workshop at the Academy of Storytellers through the link in the description.
Another feature that can be helpful to have here is like peaking, if you use peaking. I know I'm not crazy about using it, but a lot of people expose with peaking, so that's a great one to have there. So that's how we use our custom buttons. On the A7S, there's not as many custom buttons, but most of these buttons are still fully customizable in the functions. And we'll go to the menu in a second and just kind of see where those settings are.
And rerouting the record button on the A7S2 can be any of those hotkeys not on A7S1, which is a big thing for a lot of people. So
yeah, if you don't like the tiny little hidden pimple button, you can set even some of your center. Another one for us that we keep at our fingertips is our picture profile, and that's our center button. So if we click the center button, we can switch to any of our picture profiles on the fly. Okay. And then I guess another feature that's been really helpful for us in like run and gun environments is using our memory modes. That's where, and if you look on the top dial, you see 1 and 2. Those are basically camera memory functions where you can set settings on your camera and then go in and save that as a memory setting. So right now, if he switches to memory 2, we have this preset to be for 60p recording. The shutter speed is where we want. We usually keep it at like an auto ISO by default, and then we can dial it to where we need. But really quickly, he just dials to that 2 on the top dial, and we suddenly are in our 60p. Instead of going into a menu, choosing like record mode, change that. So if he goes back to 1, we're at 24p, we're at a 50th shutter. It basically is a quick way to go between. That's easy to change on the day of too. So that's not like this is forever my settings. So if you're going to be in an environment where everything is tungsten balanced, we might go in and change our memory to be set for 3200 Kelvin.
Chris was just asking about the aspect ratio with your microphone, as far as having that pressed down on the wheel. Like when do you make that switch between?
Like when are we choosing to do that? So basically, since we've switched to the K2Ms, we don't need that setting unless we're recording with like one of our Rode mics on top. We don't need the audio. So we'll then, with that the way, we'd switch it over to our aspect ratio and basically add the function. So that memory setting is where we're saving all of our presets for our 1 and 2 modes.
At what point do you go into the cinema mode?
For like a picture profile?
No, the top dial. So you have like movie mode, you have 1 and 2. Like what do you have?
We generally only do 1 and 2. Those are the 2 modes we use. So we'll still tweak our settings because when we come back to it, it's always set. But yeah, on most of these, we're just sticking with 1 and 2 as our custom profiles. So right now, Britton can go to our camera. He can change his white balance to 32, 43, something around there. Get really blue. And he can go into memory. He can save that and choose 1. Now switch between 2 and go back to 1. No. And it saved that white balance to that. So that's as easy as, I walk into a room and I know I'm indoors all day. There's a lot of mixed light. Maybe I'm like closer to 4300 Kelvin. I don't want to default to daylight. Or if you're going to be in a low light setting and your ISO is going to stay similar, we might just lock that in, save it as memory. So pretty quickly he can jump between those 2.
Is there a way to do quick settings like that on the FS5, people are wondering?
Like the custom modes? No, it basically has the S&Q, which is like one of our big changes. There's an S&Q button built in on the FS5. So a lot of this customizability really applies to the DSLRs, the point and shoots. For something like the FS5, like we have every button right here. You've got your custom buttons right here. You got focus magnification. There are like a handful of custom function buttons on here that you might set. So we might set our record in 2 spots just in case like the handle's not off or not on there. There's the focus magnification is built into the handle. So I've saved the full auto button because we'll never use full auto ever to be our focus magnification, to where if this is on a movie without the handle, I can use that and punch in and pull focus. It doesn't require being connected to the handle to do that. And then we'll go into our actual custom, like our actual settings for our menu. Just show that real quick, just so y'all can see that. So this is page 1, just for your reference of what our current settings are for our custom buttons. We can go in, we can say, our gamma display assist, for instance. Maybe we want to change that to peaking. So we'll scroll through. There's a pretty long list of options that you can choose. They're not alphabetical, so that's always fun when you're searching. But we can go through and we can find different options. Deactivate monitor is a nice one to keep if you go to your viewfinder a lot, or if you just want to save battery. You can just have like your little trash can set to deactivate the monitor, where I'm not using my camera, turn that off, the camera stays on, but the monitor goes off, and I reserve as much battery as I possibly can. We'll go to page 2 real quick, and this is what our page 2 is set to. The autofocus, manual focus, control toggle, that's a big one. That's what we use to switch between manual focus and autofocus. The control hold, that's only switching while you're holding the button. So as soon as you let go, it goes back to your manual focus. So it can be great if you're doing like a really quick option, but on the gimbal for us, we just need to tap it, kind of keep it pretty quick. So that's our setting. Cool, so that's custom functions, custom settings, and for us, that is what makes it a much more usable camera when we're just moving quickly, we're going fast. That does that for us.
Was your mind blown with knowledge just like mine was? Check the links in the description for the full workshop, and remember to subscribe to get more mind-blowing nuggets from professional filmmakers. And do share what your takeaways were in the comments section below. Go ahead, I'll wait.